Good morning and welcome to our weekly Monday devotion. I'm Pastor Jeff and I'd like to take a couple verses out of Matthew 22 this morning, verses 5 and 6. They read, "But they made light of it and went their ways, one to his own farm, another to his business, and the rest seized his servants, treated them spitefully, and killed them." Now here, Jesus is telling the parable of the marriage feast to illustrate the kingdom of heaven. Guests have been invited to the wedding, but they're not willing to come. Today's verses describe those that reject God's calling on their lives. Now that first group just made light of it, went their ways. They really can't be bothered to consider the calling of the Lord. The second group, though, is openly hostile to God, and they spitefully reject Him decisively. Now, in my estimation, that first group is more lost than the second. And now being more lost is probably not a biblically sound thing to say. So let's just say maybe they're more deceived than that second group. They're going through life oblivious and aloof to the things of God. They've ignored God's revelation in their lives. Whereas that openly hostile group has made a conscious decision to ignore God's calling. That second group may not even be aware that they have a choice to make. Now, this parable reminded me about a Christian podcast I listened to recently where the host was interviewing an atheist. And this atheist isn't maybe what we've kind of typically encountered, that might be very hostile, very zealous. This guy was a very nice gentleman. He just put it plainly, said, I don't think about things regarding eternity or God. He says it just doesn't cross his mind. He has no desire or drive to think or ponder upon those things. Now, I started thinking, wow, how do you reach someone like that? What do you say to them? And perhaps we don't say anything at all. Instead, it's the testimony of our lives that might move these people, that might impress upon them that there's something different about a Christian. Now, Pastor Jack recently spoke on Romans 13:8, and I'll link a YouTube link to that study above here, and you can go check that out later. But when he talked about verse 8, he explained that the supreme element of our relationship with others is to love them as God loved us. This is our continual debt to God. Now, when we make our lives a living sacrifice to God, which is our reasonable service to Him, a byproduct of that is that we'll have a significant impact upon those around us, those that we work with, come into contact with, our family. It's a noticeable a thing when a Christian's letting the love of the Lord shine through them. Now, if someone doesn't know the Lord, has never considered them, when they see that in our lives, it's going to drive them to be curious about what makes us tick. We're living a life of hope and love, which is strikingly different than what the world has to offer. And this love might just impel them to start considering the things of eternity. They're going to ask us, why are you so happy? Why do you love everyone? And so without saying a word, you can have a very dramatic impact on someone's life. So remember this week that you can live with an impact on others just as much as by your actions as what you say. God bless you guys this week.